the shadows of late 20th century America, a quiet mathematical genius abandoned the classroom to wage intellectual and physical war against what he called the machine of technological society. The story of Theodore Ted Kaczynski, better known as the Unabomber, is a tangle of brilliance, trauma, philosophical obsession, and lethal intent. His legacy echoing ominously into our own era of fractured technologies and fringe violence. From prodigy to pariah, from isolation in a Montana cabin to the nation's most notorious manhunt, Kaczynski's life invites us to consider how conviction can turn corrosive, and how the ripples of an individual's rage against the system extend far beyond his own time. This dossier unearths the key turning points, psychological fractures, forensic discoveries, and haunting aftermaths that make the Unabomber case as chilling today as it was in the depths of the 1990s. Ted Kaczynski's journey begins in Chicago, 1942, as the firstborn son in a working-class Polish-American family, a child marked by early withdrawal and trauma after being left isolated in a hospital crib for days at just 9 months old. His genius soon became apparent. By age 10, he stunned teachers with a 167 IQ and skipped 2 grades, a move he later considered socially ruinous, sowing lifelong seeds of alienation and mistrust. At Harvard at age 16, Kaczynski endured intensive psychological experiments under Dr. Henry A. Murray, described as vehement, sweeping, and personally abusive. Though many insisted these sessions were formative in his dissent, Kaczynski himself dismissed the claim, even as shadows lingered in his later manifestos. A pivotal fracture occurred in 1966. Haunted by sexual confusion and desires for transformation, he sought a psychiatrist, only to abandon the appointment in shame, leaving with an explosive determination that he could gain power through violence. This Phoenix moment marked the fateful shift from withdrawn outsider to vengeful ideologue. Disillusioned with academia, Kaczynski abruptly resigned as the youngest ever assistant professor at UC Berkeley, without explanation, vanishing into the woods of Montana in 1971. He lived frugally in a 10-12-foot cabin with no electricity or plumbing, surviving on wild rabbits, potatoes, and the intensity of his growing hatred for encroaching modernity. The final spark came in 1983, when a newly built road slashed through his favorite wilderness plateau. His private Eden violated, his faith in peaceful retreat extinguished. From that moment, revenge against the technological system became his mission, drawing direction from the anti-industrial writings of Jacques Ellul, whom he read obsessively. Between 1978 and 1995, Kaczynski launched a covert bombing campaign targeting universities, airlines, and figures associated with technology, killing 3 and maiming 23 more, with 16 meticulously crafted explosive devices. He constructed wooden box bombs lacking fingerprints, manually crafted each component, and included cryptic signatures such as the initials FC and taunting notes like, "Woo, it works. I told you it would. RV." Key attacks included an aborted airline bombing that nearly brought down a passenger jet, the murder of Sacramento computer store owner Hugh Scruton, and devices disguised in books. Most chillingly, a hollowed-out novel called Ice Brothers, sent to a United Airlines president, echoing the estrangement of the Kaczynski brothers themselves. The campaign's symbols grew: Eugene O'Neill stamps, tree branches as clues, and targets with wood in their names. Calculated, evocative, and bewildering to the investigators. In 1995, With the world holding its breath, Kaczynski sent an ultimatum to the media: publish his sprawling treatise, Industrial Society and Its Future, or face continued terror. The publication ignited a race against time, but also set the stage for a personal betrayal. Linda Patrick, reading the manifesto's tone and turns of phrase, alerted her husband David, who recognized his estranged brother's words and ideology. The FBI, leveraging forensic linguistics and familial letters, swept in on April 3, 1996, to find Kaczynski's Montana cabin filled with bomb parts codes and 40,000 pages of handwritten journals, including entries calmly admitting to murders as experiments. The manhunt, one of the largest and strangest in FBI history, ended not through high-tech detection, but through the intimate knowledge of a brother who still hoped for Ted's redemption. The trial's drama did not hinge on the facts of the case, but on Kaczynski's urgent, almost desperate fight to avoid an insanity defense. His public defenders, seeking to save him from the death penalty, argued for a diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia, supported by Dr. Sally Johnson, who described his recurring delusions and persecutory dreams. Kaczynski determines to preserve the integrity of his ideology, attempted suicide with underwear in his cell, rather than accept what he called the ultimate humiliation, being dismissed as mad. Ultimately, he pleaded guilty to all charges in exchange for life imprisonment, silencing the possibility of a courtroom showdown over his mind. Within the walls of the ADX Florence Supermax prison, Kaczynski became an infamous figure, a relentless correspondent who filled boxes with letters and legal challenges and who found connection and pain through obsessive attachments to women like pen pal Joy Richards, his lady love. He formed strange bonds with fellow terrorists, complained of radio static, and lived in a paradoxical world of endless written words and near-total physical isolation. Diagnosed with metastatic rectal cancer in 2021, he was transferred to a medical facility, growing weaker as his body failed. On June 10, 2023, Kaczynski was found dead, having hanged himself with a shoelace. His death marked by an autopsy that revealed more internal violence wrought by resuscitation efforts than by his own hand. The body battered, but unbowed. Kaczynski's impact endures in ways he could neither fully direct nor control. His ideas, once fringe, now surface among disparate groups, desperate for meaning or vengeance against the technological behemoth. From eco-fascists and accelerationists who weave his words into neon memes, to lone actors like Luigi Mangione, suspect in the 2024 United Healthcare CEO shooting, Kaczynski's warnings, fears, and anarchic aesthetics continue to inspire both curiosity and dread. Ironically, though he warned against cult-like movements, his own manifesto was plagiarized by the likes of Anders Breivik, and his image distorted by groups he denounced as evil and deranged. In a world increasingly anxious about technology's reach, lines from his writings even enter mainstream debate, cited by respected thinkers and stirring uncomfortable questions about progress, autonomy, and the nature of resistance. Theodore Kaczynski's story is not just a cautionary tale, but a mirror that magnifies our anxieties about technology, alienation, and the desperate lengths one might travel in pursuit of ideological purity. As his journals, belongings, and even the hollowed shell of his cabin circulate as macabre artifacts, the world must consider: are we witnessing the final echoes of a vanished outsider, or the prelude to new, more sophisticated dissidents rising from the ashes of discontent?